What's going on, fellas? This is Mike D, Mr. Double Down on You, with another episode of Black Fathers Now. And dig this, man. I got a brother. Now, I'm going to tell you something about this brother, man. It's actually very interesting. Literally 3 days ago, his wife just gave birth to their fifth child. Yeah. 3 days ago, right? And he's doing this interview today. Like, I'm still like, I mean, first off, we got to give a shout out to your wife. I know we get into the shout outs. You better shout her out, because I know 3 days after delivery, my wife would have been like, yeah, you going to do something if you want to. You better be sitting right here next to me now. I'm just playing with you. But fellas and ladies listening to, we have none other than my man, Corey Wilcox, man. And the brothers representing Detroit. Another thing, a few episodes back, I had another brother from Detroit. I don't know. Detroit's representing on Black Fathers Now in the, in the recent history here. But he's a husband. He's a father of five. He's a toy inventor. But then he's also an author. So brother has a story. And when you hear the title of his book, you'll see that he has a story. And but he's really done a lot of amazing things. And I'm really happy to share his story, share his journey with the Black Fathers Now family. So fellas and ladies listening to, let's welcome my man, Corey Wilcox. What's up, brother?
Gotta clap yourself in, man.
There you go. I'm gonna add the special effects.
All right. What's going on, man? Oh yeah, I gotta do my shout outs.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Oh yeah, dude, come on, man. You know how
gotta do my shout outs. So listen, everybody. I gotta shout out. Of course, I'm gonna shout out my wife. Yes, my wife did just give birth. But the good thing about my wife is she the one who pushed me to do the interviews, man. Because I was tired. I ain't really had no sleep. Like, I think I went to bed yesterday at 3 o'clock in the morning, and in between that, I was getting up, because she just had surgery. She just lost like 2 liters of blood, man. So I'm getting up. She's sleeping on the couch. I got to get up, go help her with the baby, and move around. So big shouts out to my wife. A big shout out to my kids, man. Because if it weren't for my kids, then hey, I wouldn't be who I am today. So, that's pretty much it, man.
That's
I'll shout out my mama. I guess I gotta say, hey, mom.
Yeah. Mom, I done made it.
All right. What's going on? Let's get it, man.
I love it, man. Nah, man, I appreciate you, brother. And definitely, man, with what just went on 3 days ago, if you didn't give a shout out to your wife, I was gonna stop the interview and say, look here, dog. If you don't, you talking about her being on the couch, you about to perpetually be on the couch.
Right,
so
forever, man.
forever. But no, man, I appreciate you, man, and congratulations on the new addition. Do you have a little son, a little boy, little girl, what?
Little boy, man.
Oh wow.
And he dark skinned. I'm so happy, man.
Look at that.
My wife light skinned, man. So all my kids is light skinned.
So you got your little chocolate baby.
I think he's chocolate, man. He's darker than everybody else, man. So I'm rolling the dice, man. Like, I think he gonna be chocolate, man. But
look, you know what's gonna happen? See, because you want it so bad, he gonna start off that way. They're gonna be psych.
Yeah, right. But he's gonna turn. Look, he a junior too, man. It's my first and my last kid, man. So I mean, my first junior, but he's my last kid. So yeah, it was kind of cool, man. They was coming in the hospital like, hey, Corey. And it was like, but they talking to him, and I'm sitting there looking up. I'm like, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, So.
Yeah, it's interesting. So this is, do you have any other sons?
I got 4 sons and 1 daughter.
4 sons. Wow. Ooh, that's another conversation in itself. So 4 sons, 1 daughter. And this is the first son that's your namesake.
Yeah.
So before we jump into your story, let's talk about that for a minute, because I have a son and a daughter, right?
Right.
My daughter's name is Morgan. My son's name is Maxwell, but I'm Michael. And I'm gonna be honest with you, or Mike D, as the world knows me. But to be honest, I thought about that from the standpoint of having a namesake, and my thoughts were, I wanted my son to, he's gonna be attached to me and have my DNA and be my son and look like me, all of that. But from a name perspective, I wanted him to be able to create his own identity. And so for me, I didn't want to go in the direction of a junior or the second, so to speak. What were your thoughts about that now versus the previous 4 sons that you had?
Right. So I got I got 4 kids with my wife, and I got my one son, which is the book we gonna get into. But he the oldest son, right?
Okay.
But how I broke down naming him, how I broke down naming all my kids, right? My oldest son with my wife, his name is Hezekiah, right?
Okay.
I actually prayed, right? Because I wanted to name him Corey, So I said, let me pray, right? And this is no joke, bro. Like, and I pray, and God told me name him Hezekiah, right? So I was like, whatever, So I'm like, so I did some research. I'm like, why would God want me to name him Hezekiah? So Hezekiah actually means powerful God. So that's why that's it. So I actually was like super excited, like, hey, yeah, all right, Hezekiah. But my other kid, well, my other son, which is Kyrie, that's my baby son. That was a family. We all sat down and we was like, we all gonna name him. So everybody wanted to have a part in this. But then this kid, I was like, this is my last kid, man. Gotta have my name, man. I can't. I got too many boys, man. Like we got 4 boys, and ain't none of them got your name, man. Nah, man. It's a proud mark, man.
Yeah, it is
because it's me. It's me. I can say. I can always say I don't want you to be like this Corey. To be another Corey, man. Better Corey, better than me, man. That mark is kind of cool to me.
No, that's good. And again, we weren't thinking about talking about this, but as you mentioned that, it kind of triggered something in me. And and I think there are some brothers who maybe are dads already, or maybe gonna have more kids, or gonna have sons. And the whole concept of the junior, the second, like my brother, I have a nephew. Actually, I have 2 nephews. My wife's brother has a son, and one of my brothers has a son, and both of them, their sons are junior. Right. And so, and it's interesting just even thinking about it, because for me, I was not against it, but I don't have an issue with it, but I was just thinking from the standpoint of, I wanted him to have his own identity. But I think some of the guys who are listening, maybe are having that thought process. And I thought maybe us unpacking it a little bit might be something for them to think about in regards to the naming of their kids going forward.
I know my wife, her whole family, because I think her family, her uncle has he named his son after him. So they kind of like big on this. They don't want all, cause they be like, hey Corey, and then me and him both look up and say, what's up? They don't like that. But I think it's a powerful thing to do, man, to name your kid after you, man. It's you. It's me saying, look, there go a little Corey, right? I can actually say there go a little Corey right there.
It's fascinating. Again, as you're talking, I'm unpacking it, because with Maxwell, people are like, that's little Mike. Even though his name is Maxwell, he looks like me when I was that age, and that's little Mike, that's your twin. You spit him out, whatever. And it's the funniest thing, because he is little Mike, but his name is Maxwell, and he'll correct you. Like, he doesn't even like to be called Max. Like, he's like, if you say, hey Max, he's like, no, my name is Maxwell. Like, he wants his full name.
Right. But the thing is, like, we always got our name in our kids anyway.
That's right. That's right.
Because check this out. My oldest son, Hezekiah, right? You know what his middle name is? It's Corey.
Oh, wow.
So his name is Hezekiah Corey Wilcox. My daughter's name is Alea Tanae Wilcox. Like, we always throwing our kids, ourself and our kids anyway. Why not just give them the whole name, man? Just take it, man. Roll with it, man. Ooh, change the name, man. Change the path.
You said something there. We're always throwing ourselves in our kids anyway. That's a powerful statement that you mentioned it. We're always throwing ourselves in our kids anyway. So why not give them the name? And, you think about your DNA and your genetics and all of that. We're throwing ourselves in there. We're throwing, and that's why it's important for us to be mindful of our habits and what we do, because we're throwing habits into our kids. We're throwing ways of life. We're throwing routines. We're throwing lifestyle. We're throwing all of these things, even opportunities and the way that we view life. We're throwing all of that into our kids. So according to Corey, he's like, well, shoot, might as well go ahead and throw the name in there too. Why not?
Get the whole spiel, man. Get the whole thing, man. So now when they see this Corey, it's gonna be a different Corey. It's gonna be a fresh start, Corey. So I'm happy, man. I'm excited. So I look forward to whoever he becomes, man. Because it's funny. I'll give you a quick story. I'm a 100% believer in God, man. I always truly believe God do miraculous and wonderful things. And I always say my son was supposed to be here, right? Okay, because my last son, Kyrie. Now my wife tried to get, the whole little tubes tied thing or whatever, and it couldn't happen, right? And then all of a sudden we had Corey Jr. Now all of a sudden we can do it now. There's no problems now, because it was problem before, but now it's no problem. So I said, all right, look, I told my wife, I said, look, he was supposed to be here. So we don't know who this kid is. You know what I'm saying? So guess what? Since God wanted him to be here, your name is gonna be Corey. So everybody can know. Hey, man, that's your son right there, man.
That's and the thing, and you dropped something there from the standpoint of things that are supposed to happen, right? Like and it's about how you perceive that thing or how you interpret that thing. Because a lot of times we complain or we get frustrated because even in that instance, somebody might have approached it like, you know what? Okay, it can't happen right now. Well, somebody gonna have to go back in there and fix it at some point, or you could have pushed the issue, but you realize that, hey, it's not supposed to happen there. It's not supposed to happen, and it's to me, I think about the concept of attachment. Right. So there was a lady from the gym, and literally it's a funny story, and then we'll jump into your story. There was a lady from the gym that I befriended over the last couple of years, before we shut down with COVID and all of that stuff. And she was a 70-year-old Indian lady who was a Hindu, but she was like one of my little mamas at the gym. Sweet little lady. Every time I see her, she had something to say, want to come hug me and talk about this, talk about that. And there was another lady at the gym that mentioned to us that I reminded her of a guy from a television show, right? So my little friend from the gym was like, well, when does the show come on? And I was like, I don't remember. And I said, well, why don't you just record it via your DVR on your cable box and you can watch it, whenever it comes on. And then and she was just like, when does it come on? I was like, I don't know. I just record it and watch it then. And she was just like, well, why would I record it? I was like, so you can watch it later. I was trying to give her game. Right. I was trying to give her game on, there's technology and your remote and your cable can do this. And then she hit me with something that I hold with me to this day. She was just like, if I see it, I see it. If I don't, I don't. I'm not attached to anything. And then she pulled me to the side and she said, Mike, I love my husband and I love my sons. If they call me, I'm excited. If they don't call me, I'm okay because I'm not attached to anything. It was this whole concept of attachment. And I think for us in our life, we get attached to stuff. It's like, oh, I love my car. Oh, I love my this. Oh, I love this house, or I love this restaurant or whatever. We get so attached to these things. But that attachment, in essence, to me, sometimes is us trying to force an issue that we don't need to force. If you see it, you see it. If you don't, you don't. If this thing can happen right now, cool. If it can't, hey, it's not. And there's a reason behind that. And it's all about the perspective in which we approach that thing. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and it's just like how you were saying, like, how your friend was talking about being attached and things like that. Like when people see my kids, I want them to see me. Right? Like I want them to like when they say Corey, when they say little Corey, I want them to see big Corey in him. You know what I'm saying? Just like when people seeing Jesus, they were supposed to see God, right? You know what I'm saying? Like it's all we supposed to see our Father. You know what I'm saying? We supposed to see in us, like people see David Wilcox. That's my dad. My dad passed away, but that's what they're supposed to see. They go little David right there, man. And that's how life is, man. Because even with my daughter, they always say, man, they go little Tanae. They say it all the time, man. Just like when they see your kid, they see your kid, they say they go Mike.
Both of them, my little girl and my son. Like literally, when they see Morgan, they like, ooh, that's little Mike too. You can't deny none of them. Yeah.
And when we die, man, we supposed to leave a crater in this world, man. You know what I'm saying? Forget the impact. I want to leave a crater in this boy, man. Like they know Corey was here, man. And if I leave a good name, then therefore my son has my name too. So now it's my name continue on, man. So that's
if I leave a good name.
If you leave a good name, that's what I'm saying.
Wow, that's man. It's interesting as you say that. That's like a great segue into thinking about like your story and your origin story in regards to how did you get to that particular mindset, right? Because that mindset of wanting to leave a legacy in regards to your kids, really wanting people to see you in them so that the saga continues, so to speak. But then it also led to, you're an inventor, right? And you're an author. Like, what about your origin story or your experiences led you to this particular mindset?
I've always been, you about to get a deep dive into my life.
Come on.
So I always been the oddball kid, or I say friend, right? Even when I was hanging out, ripping around the streets, I was always like that kid. You drinking and driving with your friends, right? You got your little buzz, you're a little high, whatever, when you're young. And I used to be the only teenager or young guy in the car with these, and imagine we drinking and driving, and my whole buzz would just disappear. Right. And I'd just be like, wait a minute, man, why am I doing this? Like, I was always the eyeball, man. I was always the guy that was interested in the Bible. Like, as a kid, like 6 years old, like, who is God? You know what I'm saying? Always picking the Bible up, trying to read it, didn't understand it, but was always reaching out, trying to read it, stuff like that, man. So as I grew older, man, the challenges in my life, not having my dad, me and my mom wasn't really cool, you know what I'm saying? So really going through a lot of emotions as a young man, which a lot of young men go through, right? So-called fell in love with my oldest son's mom, so-called fell in love, right? That didn't work out, went through hell and high water, you know what I'm saying, to please her. And then that situation, I guess that was kind of like my breaking point, right? So when I was going through that situation with her, I kind of went into like a deep depression, man. You know what I'm saying? Like really isolated myself. And when I isolated myself, it actually pulled me closer to God. So then I started having conversations with God, praying more and asking God to, help me out, man. Like, if you I remember I had a conversation to God, and I said, you're supposed to be so real, and my life is going through hell right now. Changed my life, man. And from that day on, my whole life changed, dude. From 2006, dude, my whole life flipped upside down, man. I went from going one direction to a whole nother direction, man. And as time went on, you just grow, man, develop, get married, have kids, go through a little more life situations, man. And you start building these bricks, man, and your walls start getting taller and taller and taller. Next thing you know, you're standing on top of the world, man.
So, you know what, dude? I'm gonna pause there for a second because you mentioned the concept of being an odd kid. I'm using odd as a quotation mark because odd kid 20, 25, 30 years ago, was really a challenge. Whereas now being odd, being quote unquote, now is unique, right? Being unique is actually celebrated. It's like you want to be the dude with the mohawk and the colored hair and the pink shoes and the whatever, like that stuff is celebrated now. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of an interesting, transition in society where actually the ones who are kind of the straight laced, what we used to call normal, are now the odd kids. And the ones who used to be that kind of alternative, creative, out there kid is the one that gets celebrated. That's one thing. But what were we going to say?
Oh, go ahead, because I was going to jump in on that one. But go ahead.
Well, jump in right there. I'll finish mine in a second.
So because what you're saying about being an eyeball, why eyeballs are like, you got to think about it. Odd people are the rich people right now, and always been the rich people right now. We got a copycat society, dude.
Yes.
Right. Everybody copycat everybody.
That's right.
God gave everybody gifts and talents.
That's
everybody has one, man. Like, you can be a singer, but your pitch can be different. You know what I'm saying? You can have a different song level. You can do all different type of stuff. Just like I'm a toy inventor and a creative guy, but I have a different look on toys and whatever, right? We all do. So it's when you start operating your oddness, right? Because it's really your gift.
Yes.
Next thing you know, you're a whole different person, man.
It's perception. See, again, and even as you use the word odd, we need to flip that from odd to unique or special, because the reality is that's where your genius lies, right? It's in that thing that separates you. And to your point, it's interesting because God gives everybody gifts, talent, skills, and all of that, but he gives nobody all the gifts, talents, and skills. Right. So that thing is odd to you because everybody can't understand it. And the funny thing about it, we're starting to now come to the understanding is they're not supposed to understand it because that's why it's yours.
Exactly.
He gave it to you. Like That's the thing. And if the more we can get younger folks to understand that thing that you are ashamed of because you think that's something different or crazy or not quote unquote cool, that's actually a superpower. The more we can get the younger kids to understand that, the more we start having life-changing stuff that really impacts the world on the level that it's supposed to.
But guess what? They'd never do that.
Say what?
They'd never do that.
Why?
Like the school systems will never implement that in school. If they actually told you chase your gift instead of chasing this
Dude,
English book or whatever.
But see, okay, you're through now. Yes, the school system will never do that. Society will never do that. Systems and structures will never do that, because systems, structures, societies, and schools are all designed to feed them. It's kind of like politics now, right? Everything is built to feed that political engine. It's not really about helping those that it's designed to help. It's about keeping those people in power so that they can run things the way they want to, keep everybody else fighting or whatever. So to your point, you are correct, but it is not the school's responsibility to raise our kids. The problem is we've gone through generations in which we started to think that it's on the school's job, or it's the onus of the school to raise, to train, to instill morals, to do this. Mom and dad at the age of 5 are supposed to turn their kids over, at kindergarten, and it's on the teacher to do it all. And then they're supposed to spit them out at 18, graduate from high school, ready to go to college or start a business or go into the military or whatever it is they're going to do. But the reality is that's a false premise. So the schools can do what they do, and that's fine. What are we instilling at home? What are we teaching them based off of our actions? What are your 5 kids seeing when they see Daddy Corey Wilcox Sr.? I can say senior now. Corey Wilcox Sr. doing his thing. What traits, what tactics, what modeling are they seeing and then going to replicate in their life? That's the secret sauce. And so my whole thing is, yes, we can criticize the schools. And yes, they spend a lot of time at schools, but the reality is it's not the school's responsibility to raise our kids. And that's where we have to, basically grab the bull by the horns and say, it's on us to teach them that and let them know that, for instance, your kids will get, mine same way. They'll go and talk about history, and they'll talk for weeks about European history and talk weeks about the Asian this or whatever. And they'll spend like one day on Africa. And with that, they'll talk about safaris, and they'll talk about the pyramids, and then they'll move on to something else. And it's on us to tell them the rich history of African civilizations and talk more than just that. We talk about Mansa Musa. We talk about, South Africa. We talk about, the Akan people. We talk about all of these different things so that they can understand that, yes, the school has an agenda, but we have an agenda as well.
Right. Oh, yeah, I 100% agree. I always say the school agenda is to make you a worker. Mm-hmm. They make you a worker. Mm-hmm. But us as parents, our agenda is to highlight that gift in our kids. Like I'm always pushing my kids. My kids come over here and tell you, I push my kids so hard, like about just like my son is a writer, right? And I'm on his head all day. Like, look, you need to write a book, whatever, man. Like like me and my wife, we used to give our kids limitations on their devices, right? You're like, hey, you only get an hour on your iPad, your laptop, or whatever. But then we end up pissing my son off, right? Because my son is always on his laptop. So we like, man, what's wrong with this kid, man? So we figured like his gift and his talent is writing, and he wanted to direct and stuff like that. So I said, dang, this boy needs his laptop. So we said, okay, fine, you can be on your laptop, launch your schoolwork, get all your work out of the way. You could be on your laptop all day. And just before we even got on, I was searching through his laptop, and all you see is him writing, building worlds and stuff like that, and directing and making animation and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm very hard on my kids and pushing on pushing their gifts out of them, man. Because I want my kids to be successful, man.
Oh, dude, check this out. I'm very hard on my kids, pushing the gifts out of them. I'm hard on my kids. Dude, I mean, when you stop and you think about that concept, that's literally, I look at that as being my role in my kids' life, is to help them to identify their gift, to then help them to believe in that gift that they have, but then is to push, refine, and pour gasoline on that fire that starts to burn. Like that's where I bring value in the life of my kids and then other kids that I touch, right? That I come into contact with. And so to that point, but it's a good balance because my wife is more traditional. Like she's literally more, follow the protocol step by step, which for me being a creative, at times I have to be reined in to follow the steps to get to the end of the process. But I can come up with the concept, come up with the vision. I can identify the opportunity here. I can see this little spark, but then she comes in with the step-by-step process to then get there. And you see the unification of this team. And again, you talked about how God works in mysterious ways or not so mysterious ways. He put us together for a reason because we bring different values to we have the same values, but we bring different skill sets to the table, which now have a synergistic effect on our kids, and the sky is going to be the limit for them.
Right. Oh yeah. Not like I'm hard. I'm even hard on my wife. Like, when I first met my wife, it's funny, man. Like when I first met my wife, man, I ain't trying to jump around, but this it goes with this point. Go ahead. So when I first met my wife, she used to write words, man, like notebooks. I'm talking about like just words, man, all different type of words, man. And I thought that was so odd, right? So I actually thought something was wrong with my wife, man. So I went to her mom with this notebook. I said, "What's wrong with your daughter, man? Why she always writing words, man?" And then come to find out, her mom said, "Hey, man, she used to write. We bought her a typewriter, and she used to write as a kid all the time, write stories and read them to the whole family." So come to find out, my wife really, truly was a writer, right? So then I started pushing my wife. Even to this day, she gets so mad at me, but I push her on her gift. I say, "No, I'm not just gonna be the successful one in my house. You're gonna be successful too, man. It's gonna be we're gonna be a corporation in this house, man. Everybody gonna be doing something, man, because everybody gonna leave a legacy, man. That's how it's supposed to be. Just not mommy and daddy or just dad. No, the whole family is a legacy, man. That's what people need to start thinking about, man. Think about Ford. Think about Ford, one guy, right? Now I think his whole family is rich. His entire generation of his family, Ford family, are successful, man. And that's how I look at my life. I want, from my generation as a Wilcox on, we all successful, man. We all legacies, man.
You know something? I want to drop something here, and maybe it's a little pushback, or maybe it's just a different way of looking at it. We are all gifted in different things, and we all bring different skill sets to the table. And, there are, and you use Ford as an example. You can look at any entrepreneur, all the hundreds of dudes I've interviewed, throughout the years. What's interesting is that there might be one individual who is the face of, right? Like they're the ones that the world sees. They're the forward facing, but people don't understand that there is a whole ecosystem behind them that's basically allowing them to be the face or to be that engine, so to speak. And so to your point, maybe your wife's role is to create her own thing in the midst of in collaboration. But at times, whether it's the wife or the husband, in some instances, maybe the spouse's job is support, meaning they do everything so that you are free to go and create and use that engine that you have. And I think about that with my wife because on a personal level, I have entrepreneurial aspirations and I want to create and build and have independence and, financial freedom and all of this kind of stuff. And I want to do so independently on our own terms, right?
Right.
On my wife's end, she's a little more traditional. So for her, or for me to push her in that direction might be pulling her out of not a comfort zone, but out of what it is she brings to the table. She's more of a goal, or more of a value proposition in a support capacity for the entrepreneurial stuff so that I can do that. But then as it pertains to more traditional stuff, I'm probably more support for her to be able to push the traditional part. And again, it's that marriage of the two. And it's not me trying to force who I am down her throat. And I think sometimes, again, this is just me and you, it's just like two brothers dialoguing right now.
Right. That's all good. That's all good.
And I think sometimes we have to be mindful of that. And I've caught myself because, I can be a type A personality and trying to say, we need to do this, and this is how we need to move and all of that. But the reality is that's not her. She's cool with it, but I need to take the lead on that and find ways for her gift to shine in the midst of it, but then also create avenues for her gift to shine in areas that she grooves with naturally. Does that make sense?
Right. Yes, sir.
You know, it's just, I don't know, it's just interesting to even just to think about it, because again, these are dynamics and we're all, and it's like,
off each other.
Yeah, that's it. It's all about helping each other, one, but then two, it's like we're in the process, or like we're knee deep in it right now. Right. Neck deep in it. So it's not coming from the place of some 80-year-old gurus or saying like, okay, when I look back over my life, these were, no, dude, I'm I'm talking about stuff that I'm going to figure out how to apply today.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you know, life always continues on, man. You know, life is always changing, man. I tell my kids all the time, life is always changing, man. It's never the same, man. You can look up tomorrow and it might be snowing. And the next day, especially in Michigan. Michigan, this is the biggest example. It could be 80 degrees today, and then 50 degrees tomorrow, and then 80. You know what I'm saying? It's always up and down. So yeah, life is always changing, man. So I'm always listening, observing, man, and you know, trying to build and put that information in my life to, hey, it can change my life today, just like you say, you know, you apply this stuff today.
That's it. And I'm going to tell you that, to me, the whole concept of being open, intentional, but then also being open to having interpretations that allow you to put it in a package that you can practically apply is so important. You know, I dropped a quote the other day about sound bites and quotes. And the whole concept was sound bites and quotes that you can't use are basically like a great tasting laxative. You need to poop that stuff out. You know what I'm serious. You stop and think about it. Sound bites and quotes that you cannot use or apply to your life are like great tasting laxatives. That's it. Think about it.
But and that's so true, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like I could say, just like how we talking about life changing stuff, right? Just like even the book, right? The whole baby mama experience, right? That book is to open up the conversation. So what? So we can change, right?
Yes.
So we can change the environment. But guess what? Don't nobody want to talk about change. That's what's a big problem sometimes in society, man. Is when it comes to some real change, we like, I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? Just like if you see what's going on in society right now, with the Black Lives Matters and all this stuff and all the racism and the cop stuff and all this crap, and everybody like, let's change. And people like, nah, nope, I don't want to do that. Nah, I don't want to do that, man. You know, like that's what's wrong with the world right now, man. It's like we refuse to change.
Well, dude, change is hard, one. And what's interesting, how we are naturally wired is we naturally are wired to not want to change. Well, put it this way. You've heard the quote, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right? So most people do not have the motivation to change unless they're scared or unless they're angry. Right. So that's why if you look at tactics from brands, from politics, from whatever, to get people to change, they usually use fear or they use something that's going to get you angry, because those are the two things that you can almost rest assured they're going to get people excited and cause them to change. And so to that point, that's how we're naturally wired. And so for some of us who are looking to be on this perpetual path of improvement, we have to get to a point in which we can learn to grow, develop, and change without being scared or without being angry. We are always on the lookout for how can I improve? It's like you mentioned a minute ago. You're always taking stuff in. It's like, man, what can I apply to my life to make it better right now? It's like you're always looking for that. You're open to that. A lot of people aren't naturally open because that flies against who we are. Because who we are is, man, shoot, things are good. I ain't changing nothing. It's like, man, shoot, I'm comfortable, man. Why am I moving? Shoot. Why am I exercising today, man? Shoot, the sofa's nice. The game is on. This beer is solid, man. Come on, dog. The beer cold. Man, I ain't going, until you get a bad report from the doctor and it says, look here, dog, you about to lose your foot if you don't start exercising. You know what I'm saying? Or, you get mad about something, then all of a sudden we're ready to change. But those of us that are in that perpetual state of improvement, I don't need all of that. It's like I'm looking for opportunities to get better.
Right. Yeah, I just I think I was just to Dr. Miles Monroe talk about that, man. He was talking about that. He said the same exact thing, man. He gave a quote about somebody who had they was like diagnosed with cancer, something like that. And it was like, all right, it's time for me to change. And he like, man, why would you wait till you get cancer? Now you want to change your lifestyle, man.
Because it flies. Look, check this out. It's interesting. Human nature is a beast, right? Because how we're naturally wired. I listened to an interview the other day, and a guy said he was an investing guru or whatever. And he said, great investment practices fly in the face of everything that comes natural to us. That's why most people are not great investors.
Right.
So you think about the concept of, with good investing practices, when things are good, you're not buying more. I mean, you dollar cost average on, to keep it going consistently, but you buy more when the price goes down. So when things aren't good is when you buy more, right?
Right.
Versus with us, when you eat that pie and it's good, you want another piece of pie. When that chicken is good, you want another piece of chicken, right? Whereas if the chicken's not too good, you like, I'm good. I don't need no more. Whereas when it comes to investing, when it's not too good, you like, hold up, I might need to buy a little bit more, right? And so again, it's like it's counter to who we naturally are in our nature. And so that's why, to your point, we have to be intentional about the work. And if we're not intentional about that personal development work, we're going to just do what everybody else does and sit back until we're either scared or we're mad, and then we'll take action. And that's how most people operate. It's not everybody, but I know on a personal level for me, I'm trying to be that brother who's like, I don't need to be scared or mad to take action.
Right. I mean, you can go to the gyms and look at it right now. It's like nobody in the gym right now. Remember, everybody was at the gym. Now all of a sudden, it's like, man, I've been sitting on my butt. I'm good. Everybody been sitting on your butt, So now you go to the gym. Now I just went to the gym the other day, man. It was nobody in there, man. The gym is actually right in front of my house, so I can just look out the door and there's nobody over there, man. It's crazy, man.
It's a crazy phenomenon, but it's literally historically it's always been true. If you look at gym membership spike, the beginning, New Year's resolutions and all of that, everybody wants to get in shape. Literally, they spike the beginning of the year and they go strong until about Valentine's Day. Then they start to fall off. And then they fall off around Valentine's Day all up until late spring when you're going into the summer because everybody's going to the beach and all of that. They need to lose 20 pounds. So it picks up right before the summer, so you can lose that 10 pounds for the wedding you got to go to or the beach you're going to, whatever. You want to look good in your swimsuit. It picks up then, and then towards the end of the summer, it falls off. And then it falls off because then we get into the holidays and then all of that. And then it's back to the New Year's resolutions again. So it's like this cyclical thing that nobody really just stays consistent with it because honestly, there's not an incentive. You're not angry. Now, what gets people for real with it is all of a sudden your favorite pair of pants, you try to put them jeans on and you're like, I can't button them joints up. So then you get mad.
Right.
So then you start going 5 days a week and drinking water all day, But, it is what it is. So getting back kind of to your story, brother, like, you mentioned, the inspiration behind the book, and we talked before about you being a toy inventor. So I guess we can kind of jump into the whole concept of how did you become an inventor of toys?
So my whole entire life, well, I guess my whole entire life, but since I was a kid, my mom used to buy, and I didn't know I was an inventor. Okay, I never knew I was an inventor, but my mom used to buy me toys, and I used to always, no matter what she bought me, I don't care. I remember, I don't know how old you are, man, but I remember it was
I'm 40.
RC.
I'll be 40. I'm 41 by the time this thing airs, but yeah.
But it was this. I'm 36, so it got to be around your time. It was this race car, man. It was like the hottest race car back then. So it had the 3 wheels. I don't know. Remember, it had the 3 big old wheels on there, 3 big old tires, man. It's something. It was like $90. You know what I'm saying? Race car. I begged her for it for Christmas. Like, please let me get that, please. So she finally get it. I promise you, dude. I hope she don't see this. But the next day, I took that boy apart, dude. She bought it for me on Christmas, man. I took it apart the next day because I was always that kid that wanted to know how everything worked. I want to know how everything worked, man. I want to know how they put colors and mold plastic together and put all the colors in and make all the colors, how they shape and form and all that. I was always like that. So as I got older, into my teens, I used to sketch stuff up. You know what I'm saying? I used to be in my favorite class in high school was entrepreneurship. That was my favorite class, man. Like, I hated high school, but that one class that I took my 12th grade year is my favorite class, man. Just because it was tapping into the gift. But at the time I didn't know that was the gift. You know what I'm saying? But it just always, because he was always talking about creating something new. So for a creative person, I was always like, yeah, that's cool. So like I said, as I grew older, you start dibbling, dabbling, man. You see the little commercials on TV, submit your product online if you're an inventor and stuff like that. So that stuff used to always catch my attention every time it came on, man. So but that was my teenage years. But then once I became an adult, I ended up meeting my wife. And I came up with this idea, and I just said, "Hey, you think this kind of cool?" And she was like, "Yeah, it's kind of cool." So then it just started. Then stuff started flowing, and then she was like, "Man, I think this kind of your thing a little bit, So from, I could say, like 14 years ago was when it really kind of kicked in, man. When I really kind of just started going crazy for it.
14 years ago, it kicked in. And it's interesting, we talked about understanding or identifying gifts in your kids. And you mentioned from the jump, you were always that kid to take things apart. You were always inquisitive about how things work, how this comes together. And your most, enjoyable class in high school was entrepreneurship, right? Yes. So there was this thing inside of you that was there. And it's interesting as we talk about, we kind of, the criticism of the typical school system of they don't help you to understand your gifts and all of that. They're creating you to go and get a job somewhere. Right. If there was somebody when you were young that understood that, okay, it's not a bad thing that he breaks this stuff down, but it's actually a good thing. And something about him really understands or wants to understand what makes things tick. And they pour gasoline on that fire early. That could be something that could really have opened up even before 14 years ago. And I think fellas listening and ladies listening too, that's something to be mindful of. Again, I ain't gonna lie. When we get a kid a toy or something, I do get a little upset if I go in the room and it's all in pieces or something. For mine, it's not because they're trying to figure out how it works. They done threw it off the top bunk or something. So that's different story.
I should take it down. I should take it apart to the motherboard.
See, but again,
motherboard, dude.
but fellas, I hope you're paying attention to that. Yes, you might be a little upset because you spent so much on this particular toy, but also take a step back and ask why. Like, why is he taking this thing apart? Why is he looking at this? And ask questions, tease it, but then also feed that. If you understand that your kid is that one, your kid could be, another Corey Wilcox who starts creating toys and has toys out there and all of that. You never know. Feed that stuff.
I always tell people, man, if you don't know who you are,
yes,
then how can you tell your kid who they are, right? And I and it's the truth, man. I'm not trying to bash nobody, but when people know, like, I tell you like this, I remember I came to my mom for an investment. Shout out to my moms. And I remember I was just talking to her. I said, this is when I first started. I said, hey, can you invest in this? Give me some money to help me get this going. And then I was kind of asking her, like, give me some investment. You can kind of give me some ideas and stuff like that. And she was just like, that's not my thing. I'm not a creative person. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. And I was just like, wow. You know what I'm saying? So now when you start looking back at childhood, you kind of like, oh yeah, I see why she never pushed me to go.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you, you're hitting on something. As I introduce Black Fathers Now, you hear me say, I'm Mike D, Mr. Double Down on You, right? And so Double Down on You is my performance, leadership, and personal development coaching platform, right? And the whole concept is built on an acronym, right? And the acronym is embrace your greatness while pursuing your interest, recognizing your faults and failures, yet guarding yourself against your personal triggers. Greatness, interest, faults and failures, triggers, GIFT. It's about unwrapping your gift. And what we come to find is that from a personal development perspective, yes, we want kids to learn this and to understand this, but you come to realize that most adults, even successful adults, have not done this particular process to really do a deep dive, look in the mirror and understand who they are. What we end up doing is getting caught on a hamster wheel, right? We stay busy. We're perpetually busy. We're in organizations. We got the jobs. We got this. We got that. We got fraternities. We got all of these different things that we have going on, right? And it keeps us busy. We're on this hamster wheel and we're busy serving and we're doing noble things, but we don't have time to take the time to stop and look in the mirror and say, who am I?
Right.
And you made a very valid point by saying, how can I help my kids understand who they are if I don't know who I am? Because the moment that you understand who you are, you become self-aware, self-actualized, as some might say, or whatever. The moment that you really come into the full understanding of who you are, everything changes. And I'm 40. I mean, at the time of this recording, I'm 40. When it releases, I'll be 41. But the funny thing is, it's basically been in the last 5 or 6 years for me personally that I've fully come to understand who I am, what my calling is, what it is I'm supposed to be doing. And before that, I mean, I had really high paying jobs doing pharmaceutical sales and all of that kind of stuff. And the world would say, oh, you're being successful. But the reality is I was on this hamster wheel and I knew that was not me. And so that led to other issues on a personal level.
Right. But just like when you know who you are, man, I can tell you like this. I just talked to my daughter yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
You speak with so much confidence, man. Like, yo, that leadership take over, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just talking to my daughter. I said, hey, have you noticed like your dad, kind of got a lot of stuff going on right now, and and you just, I mean, it's like that chip on the shoulder, man.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of like, who you are, and when you're speaking to them, it's like everybody's quiet now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because you don't have that stutter in the voice, or just go get a job. Because that's what everybody always tell them. Just go get a job, go to college. When you start touching on, man, you great. You're gonna be better than me, man. You that thing you like to do, man. Keep pushing for it. That's how I talk to my kids, man. And it be dead silent, man. Like my oldest son, the one I wrote the book about, that dude love talking to me. I call this guy right now, and he just sit here and talk. He'd sit down in front of me right now. If he was in front of me right now and we was just talking, dead silent. He just listened, and he absorbed all of that. I got a nephew kind of having some issues. That dude called me all the time, and it's funny. I used to be on them so hard. I mean, so hard, man. And I used to think like, man, this dude got to hate my guts, man, because I'm on him. And he sat down one day and said, "I love talking to you, man."
Dude.
I said, what? He said, I love talking to you, dude. I said, why? He said, because you pushed me to be great, man. And I said, for real? I said, are you serious? Like, look, we sitting in front of a group of people, and this is his dad. It's his dad, and it's the other little, I ain't gonna put his business out, but it's a group of people there, right? And he said that, and I'm thinking, I just looked at him, and I was just like, wow. He was like, I want you to be, he's like, Dad, I want you to be like how my uncle is. I want you to be on me. Because him being on me pushes me to be great, man. And say that junk in front of everybody, dude.
Dude, can I tell you,
Go ahead.
that says so much. And, like you mentioned earlier, and you used the term, everybody does this or nobody does that or whatever. And you remember when we were talking about like the school system or how people think, and we have to reframe our thought process or even reframe our verbiage to, it's not everybody, but there are some people who think a certain way, because that example right there is enough for all the brothers listening and the sisters listening too, because they tune into what we're talking about, to understand that kids want to be great. There are kids that want to be great, and it's up to us to pull that greatness out of them, or to, like you mentioned before, sometimes it's not pulling it out. Sometimes we got to push it out of them. Right. But the reality is they want to be great, and it might take years or even decades for them to look back and appreciate it, but it will be appreciated. And we got to do that.
So it's just like my oldest son. I was just talking to my oldest son like 3 weeks ago, man. And he was talking about, Dad, I like stocks. So I'm excited just because I know it's something different. So when you give me something different, let's go. Right. So he's like, Dad, I'm in the stocks, man. Mind you, my son's 14. So he's like, Dad, I'm in the stocks, blah, blah, blah. So he said, so I'm excited. I said, did you tell your mom? He was like, yeah. I said, so what did your mom say? He said, my mom got mad. I said, what? He said, yeah, my mom got mad because she wanted me to go to school to be like an engineer, or what did he say? She wanted something about an engineer or college or something. And I said, Isaiah, you never know. You can be successful now. You know what I'm saying? I said, I'm just throwing it out there for him. You know what I'm saying? I said, you can be successful off of stocks right now. You never know, right? So he said, but my mom got mad at me because she said she wanted me to go to college.
Hmm.
She said because she wanted me to go to college because she never went to college. And I'm like, here
That's
we
it.
go.
That's
Here we
it.
go. Always pushing. Now, mind you, I like I just said, I want to push you to greatness. I will push you to be great. But I'm not gonna push me like my wants. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. People might say that's kind of contradicting, but
No. You hit the nail on the head, dude. I actually interviewed us an episode that dropped a few episodes prior to this, and one of the things the brother was talking about was being successful as a father is taking the ego out of it. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he said that, and this is powerful to me. He was saying, as a dad, it's not about me being known as a great father. It's about me actually just being a great father.
Great father. Right.
So to your point, if I push my wishes on my children because I want to have 2 doctors in the house, so I'm going to push my kids to medical school because I want everybody to know that the son and daughter of Michael and Maisha Dorsey, they both are medical doctors. Those parents did a great job. What that's doing is that's keeping ego in it for us because we want to be known as the great parents who raised 2 medical doctors versus now if they want to become medical doctors, we're going to pour gasoline on that fire. But the reality is I'm not going to force them down that rabbit hole just because I want to look good and my legacy to look good. That this is what I raised, because then that's the ego in me coming out.
Right. And that's just like my oldest son with my wife, my oldest boy, right? Now he 11 years old and he almost the same height as my wife. So he tall, big old hands, big old people. This dude 11 years old, we're like a 10 and a half.
Oh, wow.
Like grown man. Yeah, he a big kid. He gonna be like 6'5". So everybody was like, he should play sports. I'm like, nah, I'm not about to push my son to play sports. I'm gonna let my son be whoever he want to be.
That's it.
So when I found out about the writing, I said, nah, that's something different. Because you don't hear everybody talking about, hey, I want to be a writer. No, I want to write. I want to be a writer. Like when my son get mad and we send my son to his room, you know what my son do when he get mad? He write.
Wow.
He journal. I mean, even if he pissed off at me and talking junk about me, but you know, because he do that, but he a journal like 10 pages talking about how he's so mad at his dad, you know, and how everything is unfair. But it's just wonderful to see that when you get mad, you do something productive. You write, you know, instead of getting mad and going to shoot somebody's house up or something, you know.
That's real. That's real. Again, it's all about finding ways to productively deal with the challenges that we have in life. Because, you know, we're going to have challenges. No matter how great the situation is, you're always going to have challenges. So you mentioned, again, your oldest son, but then your oldest son with your wife. So your oldest son is the son that you had with the lady prior to your wife. And you mentioned the book that you wrote, Baby Mama Drama, was surrounding that particular relationship. Don't tell us all about the book because we want people to go out and buy the book, but kind of give us a synopsis of, you know, the background of the book itself.
So the beginning of the book is more so just the troubled times, the headache times, and the end of the book kind of gradually goes into how to deal with the situation. So it kind of give you both sides of the world, the good and the bad. The book doesn't bash women at all. It actually it's just a book to uplift guys and women at the same point, because I had a young lady who read the book actually say the book helped her. Excuse me. She said first she was like, man, I thought the book was kind of you was exaggerating, right? She's like, you exaggerating stuff. I didn't believe it. But then she said, then she had to really think about it. She says, I had to really stop and think about, you know, what you were saying. And she said the book actually helped her because she said she's a baby mama. And she said that actually gave her that different look to understand how her kid's father was actually feeling. And I said, that's the whole point. That's the whole point of the book, man. Is let's talk about it. Like, it's not to bash somebody, but it's just to open that door so we can all have a conversation, right? Because the system is so unfair that, hey, man, we just need to talk, sit down and talk, man. So maybe our kid won't grow up to be some knucklehead on the street, running up and down the street, you know, or running around with a skirt on. I don't know. You know, I'm just, you know, just throwing that out there.
Dude, it's real. And I'll be honest with you, man. You know, one of the things that I've come to understand that just about every issue that happens in the world, again, it's not every issue. I say just about every issue stems from miscommunication or lack of effective communication. If you think about just about any conflict, miscommunication, somebody don't understand it, or it was misinterpreted, or it was said wrong, or a lack of effective communication, somebody just didn't communicate, you know. And if you stop and you think about almost every issue, if you really, like, fellas listening, if you take a step back and just pause and think about every conflict you've had in your life and how that conflict got started and how that conflict could have been either easily resolved or maybe not even become a conflict at all, had there been effective communication off the jump, you're going to be surprised and you're going to look back and be like, dang, just about everything in my life that was an issue with communication.
Right. Just like I tell guys, but see, here's the thing, we don't have nobody to talk to. That's what I talk about in the book. We don't have, just like my wife just gave birth, right? Do you know how many people called and asked her how she was doing? Right. Which is fair, right? Because she had surgery, right? But did anybody call and say, hey, Corey, you just got another kid? That's 5 kids, bro. Like, are you okay? Nobody. Not one single person.
Stop and pause. Did I not send you an email?
I mean, yeah, you, but I'm just talking, you did.
Yeah, now hush. Yeah. So you see how we went back to this notion of, you know, you're saying using nobody and everybody. That's where people, from a communication perspective, that's what people misinterpret. It's not everybody and nobody. It's, you know, a lot of people don't, you know.
Yeah, okay. Right. A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't.
And real talk, I mean, again, this is Black Fathers now, so we're talking to dads, and dads understand that. And even if you look at marketing, it's interesting when I connect with other brothers who are in the dad space and we talk about issues, even like with marketing dollars and all of that, you know, there's billions and billions and billions of dollars for mama stuff.
Right.
You know, there's a little couple pennies over here for daddy stuff. Right. In the sense of they, you know, that's how things are done. And so when the money behind it is not focused there, the attention's not there. And if the attention's not there, then the masses think that it's not important. And then you couple it with some of the language and how the courts and stuff work with custody stuff and all of that. People start to minimize the value of fatherhood, and they don't understand that it's equally as important as motherhood. It doesn't mean that, you know, we are superior, like, no, but we are needed in the equation. And so to your point, I think you do bring a valid point of, now all Corey's friends and all, this is released a couple months later. He's calling y'all to the carpet to holler at him and check on him. And I ain't gonna lie, after he said that and me realizing again, he got 5 kids, I'm gonna call and check on you a little bit more frequently. You know, I'm praying for you. Good Lord.
But it's
a point though. It's a legit point.
But just like it's articles in Time magazine. I'm talking about old articles, man, that talk about this stuff, but you never even hear about the articles, man. You never hear people even mention the articles. Like, they wrote an article about, they said it was something like 98% of kids, if they dad go to church, the kids of the whole family go to church and continue on going to church.
Dude, see, I'm gonna tell you, you're drunk. Have you read the book called The Boy Crisis?
Nah.
Okay. It's a powerful book. It's called The Boy Crisis by Dr. Warren Farrell. And one of the things, or his hypothesis is that, in essence, every major issue that's faced in the world is all revolving around dad-deprived boys. So he went through and he talked about like Hitler Youth, and he went through ISIS, and we know about the gang culture. And every situation literally revolves around dad-deprived boys, or boys who are deprived of a strong and effective relationship with their father. And it also, he brought in other statistical evidence of kids who are raised with a father, right? And it literally leads to what you were talking about in regards to, there is such a value proposition of strong, effective fatherhood with the kids, that we need to value that a lot more. But there are a lot of narratives in society that give dads or fathers kind of the afterthought, conversation. Like, we're like, okay, yeah, y'all the sperm and y'all can pay, but we really don't need you, air quotes here. But the reality is, statistics, studies, and history proves otherwise. Again, this is not a minimization of motherhood because, dude, I love my wife. I love my mama and my grandmamas, you know, that have passed on or whatever. Like my mother-in-law, I mean, I love the mamas, godmamas, aunts in my life. I mean,
everybody, right?
Extremely important. But the fathers are extremely important as well. And again, we're talking to dads. This is Black Fathers Now. So we all know that, but we also have to do our part to step up and speak up on our behalf when we have the opportunity.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the book is just opening the door. It's just like, let's talk about it, man. You know, it's not against anybody.
No,
it's just, hey, let's talk about it, because like I said in the past, and this is one of the reasons why I really like what made me really write the book. It's something that Dr. Miles Rose said when he say, when something bothers you and you're the only person that's bothered by it, then that's God telling you to do something about it. And I remember just past jobs I had where, you know, this conversation to come up, because it seemed like it come up at every employment, you know, office. And we had this conversation, and I remember women at that particular job used to gang up on me. I mean, they go get mo ladies like, come on, let's talk, and then they all just be all on me, yelling, screaming at me, and then you would see the guys kind of just looking the other way, even though they know what the conversation's about and they know what I'm going through because they're going through the same thing. Nobody steps up to say, wait, come on, like let's talk. It's just, no, take care of your kid. You ain't no good dad. Just I'm going tearing my head off, man. You know, but like I said, the book and the whole point of the book is, let's calm down, let's talk about it, let's look at both sides, because it's two sides to everything. You got some good dads, and you got some great moms, and you got some bad dads, and you got some bad moms. But we can both come to the table, just have a conversation.
Come to the table, have a conversation. So fellas listening, and ladies listening too, because what you heard there is this is an opportunity for you to learn, you know, from the perspective of the dad. And this is a good book for you to learn from as well. So don't think that it's just for the dads and this is just an outlet for the dads. Yeah, that it is that one. But on the flip side, it gives you a window into how we think, how we're operating, and an opportunity for y'all to maybe adjust what you're doing so that we can have better outcomes, because ultimately it's all about helping the kids to have everything needed and or necessary to thrive in life. And mom and dad doing their thing together is going to help them.
Powerful. That's it. And too, just like what a lot of moms that's listening right now, what even guys listen to whatever, man, what you have to really take in is just the kid, right? Like my son. Okay, the book is mainly about my son and my experiences, but my son, I remember my son came to me, and a lot of moms don't even know this stuff, right? Because a lot of times you're a single parent, so you're not even, you know, you're too busy working, you're too busy trying to live your life, live your best life or whatever, right? But I remember my son came to me crying, screaming. It broke my heart. I'm talking about screaming, crying. I'm like, what's wrong with you? And he was just like, man, my mom don't listen, man. She just don't listen to me. Like, she don't listen at all. All she do is tell me to shut up or call me a liar and all this stuff. And he said, man, you know, I don't have nobody to talk to, you know? And this kid is at home living this every single day. You know, he might go to his dad's house. That's his escape. It's going to his dad's house. You know, that you his escape route, you know? But women just seem not to understand. They think it's all about, you know, let me get my child support. You know, let's get over on this guy. But you getting over on the guy is damaging your kid. Like, you gotta really understand that, John. Like, you damaging your kid.
Hold on, stop. You getting over on the guy is damaging your kid. Like, that right there is that's a doggone gem. You getting over on the guy is damaging your kid. And I think, to your point, and again, it's all about effective communication. And maybe saying it like that, you know, folks, you know, they ain't gonna be too receptive. But if I'm being real, because communication's all about that person getting it. If they don't get it, what's the point of you talking, right?
Right.
Pointless. So getting over the guy is damaging your kid. If there could be ways to effectively communicate that concept in a way that's palatable, you know, I think you're really on to something right there, because it's not about you and the dude, because y'all maybe ain't together. It's about the kid. And so you trying to get over on this one impacts that one. And the one that's being impacted is the one that you're supposed to be doing things for. And so I like that concept that you put out there. And I think as you do various media and all of that stuff with the book itself, that's really an awesome thing to unpack and to explore, because I think that's something that could be valuable, especially to women that are going to listen to your content.
Because the people got to think about this. The more you increase, you make a guy pay child support. I'm not saying that I pay child support, right? And I'm okay with it, right? Because you got to adjust the child support. I just tell that guys right now, you have to adjust because they're taking, right? That's something as men we don't like. We don't like nobody to take nothing from us, right? But that's our weakness. That's what I always say. The weakest thing, a woman can never physically beat a guy up. We know that, right? And there's not nothing against women. Some women are strong and maybe they can beat guys up, but come on now, right? Yeah. We just being, so the only thing that can hurt a guy or make a guy sad is what? You can take his money and you can take his kid. That's the kryptonite, right? So a lot of times we forget because we like, yeah, I'm about to just hurt you because I believe you hurt me, and now we push that and project that stuff out. And now, like I say, only person that receive it is the kid. That's what people don't get. The only person that receives it, because you gotta think about this. You lick your wounds and put a Band-Aid over it, right? And you're good. So a guy will get over child support, just like I got over it, right? You make me go to work. I can't miss work because I got a family, because eventually life moves on, correct? So life moves on. So now I'm married, got a family. So I can't miss work, right? Because if I miss work, then my check ain't gonna be right for the house, child support, whatever. So all you eventually do is hurt the kid, man. You taking time away from the dad and the kid because you want your money, because that's what it's all about. I want my dollars. So now your kid is out there left alone, just wandering around, man, and it's so painful to see, man. It's just a terrible feeling, man.
And I hear the emotion in you right there, and I think to your point, I mean, that leads to the reason behind you writing that particular book. It was like you had to pour it out and you had to get your thoughts out there, and it's therapeutic for you, one, but then it's also an opportunity to help other brothers, right? So as it pertains to the book itself, where can brothers catch the book? I mean, is it on Amazon or where?
You can look it up. It's on Amazon. All you gotta do is search in. You gotta put Baby Mama Drama. You can put Corey Wilcox. It pops up. It's on Kobo. It's on Apple Books. You can also go to the website, my website at corywilcox.com. You can grab the book there. But like I said, the book it's only to help people, man. It's to help everybody. It's just not to help a guy. It's to help everybody, man. We both are in this together. Everybody's in this together, man. As a Black culture, man, we need to chill out.
Yeah, I
mean, we got to, man. Like we being hunted down, man, and our sons. Like I got a son, dude. I got put over by the police, and the cop drew his gun on me with my son in the car. Only reason why he didn't point it is because he when he looked in the car, he seen my son. Like we gotta remember, man. Like we got kids, man. And, it shouldn't be a single parent household. It's you got another parent. If you get bored, like for me, for example, my kid's mom could have it so easy if she had stopped being that type of parent. Because my son was always over here. Just like when the COVID hit, it was like, no, you can't go over there. We don't know what your dad doing over there. And I'm like, what? Like I got the cooties or something, man. I'm like we forget, man. Like it's about empowering our kids, man.
It's about empowering our kids. It's about effective and open communication between the parents, but it's doing that with the goal of giving the kids any and everything necessary for them to thrive. And so fellas, make sure to visit corywilcox.com, or you can go on Amazon and get Baby Mama Drama. It is a dynamic book that really is going to help you to think about stuff differently. Ladies, check it out too, to get a different perspective on it. A different perspective on the issues, pertaining to co-parenting. The other thing is, like I mentioned before, you're a toy inventor. Are there current toys that people can see that are on the market, or research, or websites that people can look and see some of your products and some of your work, man?
So right now I got we looking at the toy of the year. It's called Roto Brain. Okay, I got it right here.
Okay. If you're watching a video, he's about to show an image. But if you're listening to the audio, it's called Roto Brain. Okay.
Roto Brain.
Okay.
Okay. So it's a 3D sphere puzzle.
Okay.
Okay. So with this type of, and you can go to Roto, ROTO-brain.com.
Okay.
The toys at Walmart, Amazon, Kohl's, and it's going to be in North America in a couple of months. It's going to be all over the place. But the toy is each level has 3 unique color codes. Okay. So once you solve the code on each level, you complete the course or complete the game. You can actually take it apart just to show everybody. So this is it, right? Okay. You can actually take it apart. See all this? You can take it apart. You can change the code. So I don't know if everybody can see that, but all these knobs move, and they all got arrows. Okay. So you can actually change the code and make your own code. Okay. So let's say they change the code and they solve it, right? They can put it back together. They solved it. Now they can open it back up, give it to somebody else, and say, "Now you solve it." So it's the only 3D puzzle game that you can actually change the whole structure of the game if you solve it.
Hold on. So again, we're talking to Corey Wilcox Sr. here, the creator of the Roto Brain, and it's the only 3D puzzle brain that you can solve and basically reprogram for somebody else to solve, and it's different.
Right. And it's different every time.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you something. Again, we talk about, we're talking about the whole concept of gifts, talents, things that start early. And you mentioned early on that you were always the kid to take things apart, right? To break things down. What can you do with the Roto Brain?
As far as what? Talking about taking it apart?
There you go. See, what I'm saying is it's amazing how there are things, there are ties that bind that are with us, that stay with us as we grow, as we develop. And you always took toys apart. And it's amazing that you created a toy that is designed for kids to take apart.
Right.
It's a fascinating connection there. And again, roto-brain.com. They can go and learn about it. Can they purchase it there, or
you can purchase it? You can purchase it on Amazon. You can purchase it on the website. On the website, it gives you actually instructions on how to play it, how to reset the code, and how the whole toy is just broken down.
Man, we're gonna have to get us one of those, man, because I'm interested in how the kids play with it. And I can say, like, hey, I interviewed the brother who's the creator of Roto Brain. And you said is it Walmart too?
Yeah, it's at Walmart, but I just go to Amazon because I know it just came out, so everybody hasn't put it out there. But according to the company, it's supposed to be on Walmart and Kohl's and all that stuff. But right now, for sure, 100% is on Amazon right now. But the unique thing about this, it's each row has three codes. 3 codes. So it's almost like a lock. Think of a combination lock, right? So in order to open that lock, you got to get all 3 numbers, right? So each row has 3 unique colors. Each row. So all together is 9 codes. So it's a dope game, man. It's dope.
Dude, fellas, I'm gonna tell you again, you're talking to a toy inventor here. You're listening to a toy inventor, and he created Roto Brain. Again, go to roto-brain.com, or go to Amazon and search or Google Roto Brain. You can grab it now, and by the time of the release of this, you may be able to get it at Kohl's, Walmart, and all of that. But long story short, this brother, this husband, this father of 5, whose wife just gave birth 3 days ago, who wrote a book called Baby Mama Drama based off of, the challenges of having, his first son, is also a toy creator. And the brother has a toy that's currently available for sale, and it's about to be everywhere in your Walmarts and Kohl's and all of that. Let that sink in. And I want you to also go back to this. He started as a kid who used to take the toys apart that his mom used to get him for Christmas. When you marinate on that and you fast forward 30 years to now, think about the possibilities, but then think about the possibilities of the kids that you have currently right now. Don't put any limits on them.
and also to top it off, I always got to give a breakdown of the story of how I made it or how it came to be. Um, I was in a time of my life married with kids, and I've been doing this for 14 years now. People remember that 14 years, and I got tons of toys. I'm actually, just to let y'all know, I'm trying to get this 3 toy deal with this major company. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get I got 3 games, three
Mm-hmm.
game boards that's kind of unique too. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get this out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I went through a time. I'm trying to figure myself out. I had a conversation. Once again, I go back to God, right? Because God is always, so all y'all people out there. I'm telling you, God is real, man.
Mm-hmm.
Never doubt that He's not. Okay, but I had a real conversation with God, and I said, "Listen, God, you gave me. I got all this stuff in my head, right? All this creativity, all this stuff, and nothing never happens. Everybody says no. For 14 years, everybody said no. I said, God, I need you to give me something that will impact and change the world." That same night, and you can ask my wife this, that same night I had a dream about the rotor brain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And in the dream, I was just floating in front of my face, just like almost like touching me. And when I grabbed it, I promise y'all, I woke up. And I remember I tapped my wife and I said, "Hey," I said, "I just had this crazy dream, man, about this tour." I said, "I think God trying to show me something." My wife's like, "Man, whatever, man. You need to pay these bills. You talking about some one of your crazy, because you go to your spouse and like, "Look, babe, I got this idea," and she's just like, "Man, whatever, man. You always got some idea, man. You always trying to make something, right?" So when I actually drew it up, I actually thought it was ugly. I thought it wasn't gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
I went to God again. I said, "God, I know you gave me this." I said, "So I need you to make it work for me." And I ended up, redrawing it, sketched it out some more, and it came out to be what we see today as the rotor brain. And now, mind you, I shopped it around, and everybody told me no. Once again, I'm mad again because
Mm-hmm.
now I know God gave me something. I'm like, "God, you straight up, you gonna give me something, and now it ain't gonna work out now."
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I met Phil Elliott, Creative Brainworks. I sent him one of my toys, and he said, "All right, we're gonna license this. We're gonna get this out there." And I said, and I was scared to send it to him because I knew how good it was. But I said, "Well, what the heck?" So I sent him an email talking junk. I said, "Look, I got the best toy in the whole world. It's gonna change the whole world, man." This was 6 years ago, and I said that. He said, "Send it to me." I sent it to him. That same day, he sent me an offer and said, "Let's make it.
Mm.
Let's make it."
Dude,
So
again, dude, I'm gonna tell you, stop right there. That itself is enough, fellas. Don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt God. Don't doubt the possibilities. When something gets, I use the term downloaded. When something gets downloaded into your spirit, it's up to you to listen and act upon it. Don't question it. Walk. There's one of my favorite books. It's called The Alchemist. And The Alchemist is written by Paulo Coelho. And the whole premise of The Alchemist is when you start pursuing your personal legend, the universe, with my belief structure, is the creator of the universe, conspires to help you along on your journey. But you have to first start pursuing that. If you pursue and you start I heard, I think I was listening to Toby Nwigwe, the rapper, and
that's my yeah.
he's dope. He's dope.
Yeah, he dope, though. He dope.
He's dope. And he had it was like a little excerpt or whatever in one of his joints. And he was just like, "Man, it's amazing how if your car stall and you get out and you start pushing your car, how many people will pull over and start helping you push your car." And I was just like, it was such a dope perspective. And it's something that really resonates because that's the truth. You can be stalling on the side of the road or stalled in a lane. People are going to be honking at you, driving around you all mad. But if you're stalled and in your lane and all of a sudden you get out and you start trying to push your car, lo and behold, there's going to be somebody that's going to pull over and come over and try to help you push. But you got to start pushing. And you can't doubt it. You just got to know that I'm supposed to push. And once you know, and once you get that thing downloaded in you that I'm supposed to push, don't question. It's going to work. It might not work tomorrow. It might not work next year. It might be 14 years later.
Right.
But you got to push. That's what you're called to do.
I mean, the Bible tells you to write the vision and make it plain.
Mm-hmm.
It's you got to write. You got to make it plain. You got to show it to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I did that entire verse. It took me 14 years to realize that I did the entire verse. I wrote the vision, right? I made it plain. I got it sketched out. I got a 3D drawing of it. I got a prototype of it, and I gave it to somebody, and they ran with it. And the whole verse, I did the whole verse, like literally the whole entire verse. I did it step by step. And now you're looking at a toy that's about to be nationwide, man. That's all y'all people out there, man. God, this is God idea.
Dude.
I just borrowed it. I just tell people that. I said, God gave me something, I'm borrowing it. He gave it to me for a little bit till he recall it.
He gave it to a brother from Detroit, married with 5 kids. Watch out. Fellas.
Watch out, man.
Man, dude, fellas, if y'all don't get inspired by Corey's story, I don't know what's going to inspire you. And I want you to realize that Corey is gifted. He's blessed. He's talented. But I also want to say, and this is not a knock, but Corey's not unique, meaning you're gifted, you're blessed, and you're talented as well. It's not going to necessarily be as a toy creator. It might not necessarily be as an author, but there's something in your life that you're talented, that you're gifted, that you're blessed with, that you're supposed to go and do. And you should take the inspiration from Corey's story, transpose that thing, make it work, and go find that thing that you're supposed to do, because something for you is there. But you got to have the courage to take that step and to go. And again, like we mentioned before, like Toby said in the rap, you get out and start pushing your car, there are going to be some other folks that are going to jump out of their car and push. If you just sit in there with it stalled and mad, they're going to be honking and trying to run you off the road. So marinate on that, and make sure to visit CoreyWilcox.com, visit roto-brain.com and learn about the toy. Grab it. If you go to Amazon, grab it. Maybe by the time this releases, you can grab one on Walmart.com as well, and see it in Kohl's. Who knows? But we know you can go to roto-brain.com and go to Amazon and grab it. And make sure to grab a copy of his book, Baby Mama Drama. Again, this brother's walking in purpose. We got to encourage him to continue to walk in purpose, but then learn something from his story, and you go and walk in purpose as well. Any parting words that you want to leave with the brothers and ladies listening to, man?
I could just tell my young brothers out there, man. For me, when I was going through my issues with my son, mother, man, I stopped living life. I stopped living life, and I started getting skinny, wasn't eating, getting depressed. Well, you got to remember, man, I started isolating myself. Right? Stop talking to people. But you got to remember, in order to go anywhere, man, you gotta to get over this depression, this hurt that you're going through, you got to talk to somebody. You got to open up to somebody, man. Don't stop living for a bad moment, man, because life is long, man. You can cut your life short. You can keep it long, man. Keep it moving. So I just encourage all my young brothers, man, keep living. You're looking at a guy who was depressed. If you're in the situation you're depressed, I was just like you, man. But I had to find an outlet, man. I had to find something to do so I can keep on living, man.
Don't stop living life. Life is precious.
Don't stop living, because guess what? She ain't about to stop living. She collecting that check. She ain't gonna stop living, man. It's the truth.
Yeah, she ain't gonna stop living. But guess what? That's one aspect of your life.
Right.
You also got a loving wife that just gave birth to y'all's 4th together, and you're doing your thing too. So you got that part of it, but you got this other part too. So you can't stop living for the other side, but you also can't stop living for what you got going on in house right now too.
And that's how, you know, it's what to even leave it a little longer with what I'm about to say. But just like if I wouldn't have kept living, right, and I would have never eventually met my wife. See how that all work out? I kept living. I started going to outlets, and guess who I bumped into? My wife. And the moment I met my wife, just like a snap of a finger, all that depression and all that changed instantly, man. Instantly. And then guess what? After that, she gave birth to our son. And guess what? After that, I got to see him every single day. So it's always a happy ending, man. It's always a happy ending.
But look, guess what? We just have to be patient enough for it to play out.
Right. Got to keep living, man.
Yeah, got to keep living. I love it. Well, fellas, again, man, we want to thank welcome. That's the beginning. But we want to thank my man Corey Wilcox Sr. He's now senior because he got a son with his namesake. But Corey Wilcox Sr. for coming on, the toy inventor, the author, the father, the husband, the brother who's just really changing things, but he's walking in purpose. And most importantly, he's listening to what God's calling him to do, and he's acting on it. So we salute you, brother, and we thank you. You're a part of the Black Fathers Now family going forward. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep inspiring us. And definitely make sure to visit CoreyWilcox.com, visit roto-brain.com, grab a toy, grab a book, support this brother, and let's keep it moving. All right?
All right, salute. Appreciate
Salute,
it.
man. Well, fellas, as always, make sure to visit blackfathersnow.com. Follow Black Fathers Now on all your social media outlets. Subscribe, share this thing out. Man, literally, you need, if you don't follow Corey Wilcox right now, if you don't know the brother, you need to get in touch with what he's got going on, because the brother's going to change the world. And realize that you heard about him on Black Fathers Now if you don't already know. And reach out to him, connect with him, support the brother. And as always, y'all be blessed, well, and wise. And I'll holler at you. Peace.
Peace.